like everybody to please stand for the presentation of colors. Please remain standing while the national anthem is sung by Sergeant Jerry Darcy.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. I would now ask that Police Chaplain Pastor Stacy Current please deliver the invocation.
Good afternoon. Let us pray together. Gracious and loving God, we give you thanks for this day, another day to see your grace and your mercy. God, we give you thanks for the San Francisco Police Department and for their faithful service every day of the year. And now as we turn our attention to this occasion, as we celebrate the faithful and dedicated men and women who will be promoted this day, we seek your blessing, we seek your joy, and we seek your peace. Bless us this day. In the name of the God of us all, amen.
It's my honor now to introduce to you the elected officials, commissioners, and members of the San Francisco Police Department command staff. First, I'd like to introduce the Honorable Ed Lee, Mayor of San Francisco. Supervisor Sean Ellsburn. Supervisor Carmen Chu. We have the President of the San Francisco Police Commission, Thomas Mizuko. And Commissioner Angela Chan. With us today is Director of OCC, Joyce Hicks. And we have Police Chaplain Pastor Stacy Current. And from our training division, Captain Teresa Barrett. Our command staff is led by Chief of Police Greg Sir. Deputy Chief of Police Kevin Cashman. Deputy Chief James Dudley. Deputy Chief Denise Schmidt. Deputy Chief David Shin. Commander Mikhail Ali. Commander Michael Beal. Commander Richard Correa. Commander Lee Militello. Commander Lynn Tomioka. Commander Sandy Tong. I also want to recognize some of the retired leaders and members of our department that are here today. We have retired Chief of Police Fred Lau. Retired Chief Prentice Sanders. Retired Deputy Chief Joaquin Santos. Retired Captain Richard Carnes. Retired Lieutenant Judy Purcell. And retired Inspector Gary Fox. Today we're celebrating the promotion of 38 individuals who've demonstrated their commitment to the San Francisco Police Department through their abilities, hard work, their excellent work product, the commitment to the profession, disciplined study, and successful achievement in promotional examination process. The San Francisco Police Department has many traditions, and the ceremonial celebration of its members being promoted is one of the most cherished. I want to recognize and thank Chief Sir for continuing this process, this ceremony which recognizes the hard work and the sacrifices police officers make as they move upwards in their careers. It's just as important to recognize the support and the motivation and all the assistance that's provided by family members, peers, and friends to help these officers get to where they are today. There are many milestones and memorable events in a police officer's career path. The first is the moment every police officer pins their star on their chest for the first time and comes to the realization that they are in fact a police officer and serving their community. Other unforgettable moments may include recognition for bravery or heroism, a thank you for saving a life, or attaining a sought-after promotion, such as we're doing today. Today, pinning the star on the chest of the officers attaining their new rank will be a moment they will never forget. And it's important that you and family and friends are here to share that moment with them. I'm sure all of you join me in wishing them congratulations and continued success in their years ahead as San Francisco's finest. It's now my pleasure to introduce Mayor Ed Lee.
Good afternoon. I got up this morning and I said I had to put blue on, something to celebrate here. And I want to welcome all of you here on this day of promotion. It's a really happy day. In fact, I'll tell you that sitting here today, a little bit of goosebumps for a couple of reasons, but I remember just past April when I had the honor of selecting our police chief, sir. Got a lot of tingles about that. And today I feel the same way for our 38 officers who are being promoted today. Just the same tingle of people who are similarly dedicated to serving the public, not only putting their lives on the line, but have demonstrated with the support of our police commission and our police chief and the command staff as a whole, dedicated themselves to not only do better, but also be mentors to so many others. So I want to thank everyone for coming here today, being part of this great effort. This is my first of, I hope, many opportunities to celebrate promotions in this department. By the way, because it is the San Francisco Police Department, that means something special to the whole Bay Area and to the rest of the country, because people continue looking to San Francisco as to what we're doing and how we do it. And whether it's Occupy, or whether it's the way we do police work, or whether we define community policing, or whether we exhibit the kind of relationship we have between our police officers and our public, we're always cutting edge. So it's my personal pleasure to join you today and to welcome all of you. I also want to acknowledge Supervisor Sean Ellsburn and Supervisor Carmen Chu for joining us today, along with the whole Police Commission and our OCC. It's exciting for me to be here because I know some of the individual officers involved and got to know them over the past year in different capacities. And I just want to remind the officers that, you know, given the tight budget, you're going to have to keep trim because we're not going to be able to buy new uniforms for you too many times. So you're going to have to come into this promotive opportunity and lay off all the pastries, okay? Many of you friends and families are here today, too. You're going to have to remind them of that. But I am enthusiastic with these promotions. They are very reflective. Promotions to sergeants, to lieutenants, to captains, to command staff. And I know that Chief Sir and his thoughts with his command staff in selecting all of you individual men and women here had put to the test something that we have talked about ourselves, is making sure that we select folks that are very dedicated, not only to the integrity of the office and to the integrity of the police department, but also reflect their completely unconditioned commitment to keep our city safe. I have felt also this morning that, again, it's another great day in the city because we are not only an American city, we're an international city. We're a city where people come from all over the world seeking their best ideas and their dreams of success for their families, for their friends. And they come to San Francisco knowing that they've got the best police department in the country to serve them. And so these promotions are very special. They're ones that I know the chief has taken great care in selecting the individuals and making sure that the commitment is there and that their both attitude, their service, and their whole function reflects a world-class police department. I also want to take this opportunity to thank all of the men and women throughout the whole police department, whether you're on the streets or in officer uniforms or serving at the airport, or helping us with Muni, or helping us just do the day-to-day police, community policing. I want to thank every man and woman serving this police department, because it does take everybody to focus on the role that they have, but also the attitude in which we regard our police officer men and women. And community policing is tough because we have such diverse views on what that might mean in any given circumstance. And to be able to do that with community leaders, to be able to do that with 11 elected supervisors of every district, to be able to handle the tremendous diversity we have in our public. Because you know that our residents come from all over the world, and they established here, and they are taking pride in what they want to do, and they speak so many different languages. To be able to do good police work in this very diverse community is a challenge. But I think that this department has proven time and time again it does it very well, and it leads the rest of the country in how to do it well. So with that, I take pride in thanking everyone for being here today, and to acknowledge that for the 38 men and women here to take up your promotions, congratulations from the mayor. Congratulations, Chief, for picking such a fine, good group of people to represent us. And congratulations to all of us that we have the greatest police department in the world. Thank you very much.
Next speaker will be Police Commission President Thomas Masuko.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. As a police commissioner, our role involves discipline, policy, procedure, but what we look forward to most, myself and Commissioner Chan, is attending the academy graduations, the promotional ceremonies, and now the retirement ceremonies, and finally the Medal of Valor ceremonies. It's an honor for us to stand before the police department and recognize their hard work. So before I begin, I'd like to thank our honored guests, especially Mayor Lee, for his choice of Chief Sir as our choice to lead this police department. When he made that pick in my office back in April, it was quite a day. And I knew it would be a new era for the San Francisco Police Department. So, Mr. Mayor, thank you for your courage. And for the family members and members of this police department, on behalf of the commission, I offer my heartfelt congratulations. You are now the next generation of leaders of this great police department. But before I thank you, and I did this once before, I want to thank your family members for putting up with you during the process of studying for these exams, putting up with you in the process before you had your oral boards and your practicals, for putting up with you when there's that list that I used to have in my refrigerator when I was a young man that had the promotional list, and my father would cross off each name as it got closer and closer and closer to his promotion. I know it means a lot to you, and to you, a big heartfelt congratulations, and thank you for sharing your family members with us. It's a very special police department, it's a family, and I can't thank you enough. And also to our honored guests, the former chiefs, Sanders, Santos, and Lau, thank you for the foundation you have laid for this department. And also we had an honored guest that was missed, it's Judge White from the Federal District Court, who's here today. I'd like to thank you for being present today. But to our officers who are now being promoted, the commission has a very simple request. And that request is that you give the highest level of service to our citizens and the men and women who serve under you. You are the elite of the San Francisco Police Department. You have been chosen to lead this police department, and you weren't chosen lightly. And we want to make sure that every citizen gets the service they deserve, and more importantly, you have the faith and trust and the safety of those officers in your hands, because you are San Francisco's finest, and you are the elite of the San Francisco Police Department. And thank you and congratulations.
Our next speaker will be Chief of Police Gregory Sir.
I too want to acknowledge our guests, especially Mayor Lee. It's so important to have the leader of our city here for such an auspicious occasion for us here in the police department, and the other electeds, commissioners, Director Hicks, and Senior Captain of the Police Department, Stephen Dakini, as our Master of Ceremonies. But most importantly, We're fortunate to be here among 38 sworn officers being promoted to the rank of sergeant, lieutenant, captain, commander, and deputy chief, who are the future of the San Francisco Police Department's leadership. In all endeavors, leadership is critical to the success of any organization. As we close out 2011, leadership has never been as critical to the success of any organization as it is to the SFPD going into next year and beyond. Law enforcement is at a place in history unlike any time before. We're in the middle of the greatest economic crisis of our lifetime. Technology is improving the ability to communicate almost daily, making news from around the world available almost before it happens. And within the SFPD, we have 4 generations of cops trying to figure out how to best come together to keep the greatest city in the world safest. To get it done, we're going to need leadership. It is with this in mind that all the men and women being promoted today were selected to be the department's leaders of tomorrow. Someone once said the best leaders have talent, character, functional intelligence, which is the ability to think on your feet quickly and spontaneously, and an eagerness and resolve to adopt the philosophy of we can get there from here, undeterred by critics and/or obstacles, no matter how loud the criticism or how seemingly insurmountable the obstacle. Everyone on this stage has the talent evidenced by your performance on your respective examinations. I'm grateful to your family and friends for the tremendous character each of you possess, for without it you'd be lost. Always trust your instincts. You have a history of demonstrating the ability to think on your feet, or you wouldn't be sitting where you're sitting. And now you will need to add to that the eagerness and resolve to hold, as I do, that we can get there from here. And we will be undeterred by critics and/or obstacles in getting where we need to go. We'll move this proud department forward together, ever mindful of why we all became cops in the first place, to help people. The task before us is not an easy one. We have over 350 San Francisco police officers that are here today that will be gone by the 4th of July 2015, hopefully replaced, Mr. Mayor, by 350 bright, new, shiny police officers eager to learn from you today as to how we do get there from here to put us in the best position to help people here in San Francisco. I spoke earlier of 4 generations of officers. We have Vietnam war officers who came into an almost all-male department with a San Francisco residency requirement, earning a modest salary, working 15 of 17 8-hour days before getting a weekend off. There were no cell phones, no email, no computers, and certainly no one had even thought of internet. Then my generation came along with more women than ever before. We also had to live in San Francisco. We came in earning about $25,000, working the same enviable 15 of 17 days before getting a weekend. Our cell phones came in suitcases. We had pagers. We didn't know what email was. The next generation didn't have to live in San Francisco, and they came in enjoying better salaries. The 10-hour day, cell phones, email was becoming mainstream, and the internet was upon us. And now we have this new generation with maybe that 350 that I'm hoping for, who never have and may never live in San Francisco, enjoying being amongst the best compensated and well-pensioned departments in the country. Everybody has a cell phone. Everybody uses internet. Twitter, Facebook, and on are the preferred mode of communication. I know my sons would prefer to text than talk, but I make them talk. Herein lies one of the tasks at hand. We need all these folks, regardless of the generation, to take what the other has to offer, and they all have plenty to offer each other. For example, they need to talk, as that is the life's blood of policing, and I need all of you to get everybody talking to each other. We also need everyone to be talking with the community we work with, because not everyone thinks friending someone is a Facebook term. There are those like me that still believe that to be a friend means showing up in person for someone when they need you most, whether you knew them or not. We all grew up knowing police officers are our friends. The children of San Francisco need to grow up knowing what we knew when we were children, that police officers are our friends and they're here to help. So I ask you on this day to remember what somebody else smarter than I did, when they wrote down the tenets of leadership. and doing the right thing and modeling the behaviors you seek. Leadership is getting together with a person, as a person, free of all the phony boss-subordinate pretense. It is from out in front, never from behind, and rarely by the book. It is sweating with your people, capturing the big one, making sure that when they get it, they also get the credit. It is suffering with them when the big one gets away or when things go awry, making sure that you share disproportionately in the loss. Leadership is needling and joshing and being needled and joshed in return and not having a problem with either. It's a lot of pats on the back and once in a while a kick in the pants. It's giving up and letting go even when you have some doubts. Increasingly stepping into the background when everything in your being and experience drives you to step forward. It is selling the worth and talents of others rather than touting your own, being there for them early in the morning or late at night with feet on the desk just to listen when you have heard it all 100 times before. And when those of you that you have led go on to greater heights, surpassing even your heights, then truly you will know the secret of leadership, and with your quiet reflection of, I always knew he or she had it in them, will gain you the greatest satisfaction of all. And finally, I want to thank your families and friends for being here and for what they have put into the hard drive of each one of you. It is the way you were all raised as children and loved and cared for as adults that make each of you who you are today. All of you out here, all of you, did a great job so far. I thank you for the gift of these officers to a department in a city that greatly need them at this time. Going forward, these fine men and women you love so dearly will need your patience and support, as much will be asked of them in their new positions. It's not going to be easy. Take some time today to meet the significant others and families of the other promotees and become friends, trade phone numbers. You will need each other too. We are all in this together, and we need to show up for one another when the time comes, and there will be those times, hopefully few and far between, but there will be those times, and we can only get through them together, and together we will. Again, it is my great pleasure to be able to honor all of you as you embark on this new chapter in your career as leaders of the proudest police department charged with safeguarding the greatest city in the world. We're lucky to have you. God bless. That's why it's important to have the senior captain. He said, do you want to do the oath? So.
Stand up. Will all the promotees please stand?
Please raise your right hands and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution and statutes and laws of the state of California, and the codes, policies, and charter of the city and county of San Francisco. Against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I take this oath freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, that I will well and faithfully execute the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations.
We will now have the pinning of the stars ceremony. Our first honoree today is Deputy Chief Kevin Cashman, who will receive his star from Chief Sir. Deputy Chief James Dudley is going to be receiving a star from his son, Officer Matthew Dudley. Commander Mikhail Ali, be pinned by Chief Sir. Commander Michael Beal. Commander Richard Correa will be receiving a star from his wife Maria and son Jack. Commander Lee Militello will be receiving her star from retired Lieutenant Judy Purcell. Commander Lynn Tomioka. Captain Sharon Ferrigno will be receiving her star from her sister, Captain Teresa Barrett. Captain Curtis Lum will be receiving a star from his wife, Marilyn. Captain Rick Perry. Lieutenant David Johnson will be receiving a star from his brother, Cordell Johnson. Lieutenant Sean O'Leary. Lieutenant Trina Waring, receiving her star from her mother, Mrs. Nelson. Sergeant Eric J. Altifer, receiving his star from retired Inspector Gary Fox. Sergeant Melanie Alvarez, receiving your star from Commander Lee Militello. Sergeant Eric Batchelder, receiving his star from his brother Richard Batchelder. Sergeant Wendy Bear. Sergeant Jamie Campbell, receiving her star from her sister, California Highway Patrol Officer Janice Campbell. Sergeant Richard Castillo. Sergeant Kelly Dunn. Sergeant George Perez. Sergeant Dien Ha. Sergeant Mark Hutchings, receiving his star from his wife, Linda Hutchings. Sergeant Derek Liu, receiving a star from Lieutenant Chris Pedrini. Sergeant Sean O'Brien. Sergeant Peter Shields, receiving a star from his father, Mr. Don Shields. Sergeant Brett Thorpe, receiving a star from his father, retired Santa Clara Sergeant Ron Thorpe. Sergeant Walter Ware, receiving his star from Captain Charlie Orks. Before the benediction of this afternoon's ceremony and the retrieval of the colors, I just wanted to make a couple closing remarks that on behalf of the San Francisco Police Department, we're all proud of all the promotees today. And I want to thank everybody for taking time out of their day to join us in this very, very important ceremony and very memorable occasion. Congratulations to all who were promoted, and our sincere thanks to all of you who supported, sacrificed time away from your loved ones, and provided the dedication needed. The citizens of San Francisco and the visitors of San Francisco are certainly the beneficiaries of their success. Congratulations to all of you. And now I'd like to call Pastor Stacy Current for the benediction.
Before I give the benediction, I just want to say thank you to the San Francisco Police Department. I am humbled and honored to be here. My dad was a police officer for 37 years, and I've got this habit of praying for police officers. So thank you for allowing me to continue that even after he retired. Just want to let you know that I pray for each and every one of you each and every day when you go out there, each and every day when you are on the job. Please know that there are people who are praying for your safety and people who are praying for your protection. So now as we begin to depart, I'd like you to receive this traditional blessing. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. And may you always be held in the palm of God's hand. Let us all go in peace. God bless you.
Prior to the retrieval of the colors, I want to let everybody know if you'd like to have more pictures taken with the command staff or Chief Sir or the commissioners, the opportunity will remain after the ceremony. And there will be a reception in the dining room following today's ceremony, so please join us all there. Now I ask that the color guard retrieve the colors. Please stand.
Carry, color. Ready, two, right, haste. Forward, put.
This concludes today's ceremony. Thank you again very much for your attendance.